point win for the Crows over Port Adelaide. I'm Monique van der Heijden, your host for tonight. I'm joined tonight by South Australian football legend Andrew Jarman. Not only, Andrew, is it the first home game win of the season, but no better way to do it than in a showdown.
Absolutely, Monique. Fantastic performance by the boys, and nice to be here on the old Crows live stream show.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you back. Now, what did you think of the game? Obviously, plenty of highlights to take out of it. So much emotion coming into this week as well. But I have to say, I think the intensity from the boys tonight is what got them across the line.
Absolutely. The boys were tremendous tonight. Their pressure and their intensity, and they worked as a complete team. And I thought they sent a nice little message for Rory Sloane, who's been a wonderful footballer, a wonderful person, and one of the greats of our football club. And I was really proud of the performance by the lads tonight against a Port Adelaide that's been, been playing some reasonable football. But the lads made a statement tonight.
They sure did. I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions for Port Adelaide now heading into next week for Hinkley. And we've got right here the presentation from the game tonight. Jake Saligo there walking away with the showdown medal. Very deserving for him.
He's a wonderful young player. I like the way this man plays football. He's got beautiful skills. He's courageous. And, obviously a great personality. Need to fix up that haircut, though. But at the end of the day, I thought Jordan Dawson might have got one.
I mean, look, it's the medal or the mullet?
The mullet.
You never know, it may come eventually. But very well deserving for him. I think he had 28 disposals tonight. So fantastic performance. And I think last year the midfield was so heavily reliant on that man there, Dawson and Roy Lurd as well. But is he the new face of this midfield for the Crows?
Well, he's just added to the depth of the midfield. You need to be at least 6 deep, and the captain's been wonderful. His last 3 weeks have been sensational for the football club, and you've got young Rankin there learning the craft, and young Rochelle. So Nixie's building a nice, talented midfield group moving forward. So it's a credit to Jordan Dawson, who's done a wonderful job as the club captain. So far where the boys have struggled this year, he's led them beautifully.
Definitely, and some great celebrations there on field. They'll be very happy. What's the feeling there post a showdown win? There has to be feeling like no other.
Oh, it's a wonderful feeling for the lads. There's no doubt about that. But look, put in perspective, they've won 3 games, and obviously they've got a big game next week. But just enjoy it. Just enjoy the night. You got bragging rights now for the next showdown. So that's what, that's excitement for the lads, and it's a great confidence booster for the whole football club.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've had bragging rights for the last couple of years now, so they've had a good run with the showdowns. And don't forget, you can send your questions through into our text line as well. We've had a few flowing in throughout the game as well, which we'll get to shortly, and we'll head down to the rooms as soon as we can to speak with some of the players post the win. But I think what the Crows did really, really well tonight was exposing Port Adelaide's defence. We saw the forwards really push up the ground, and the defenders followed with them. And as soon as that ball spilled out the back, they had so much space to run into, take a bounce and eventually capitalise. Spot
on, Monique. And the Crows' transition from defensive 50 was very, very good. And Port Adelaide loved the ball in their hands, and they loved playing attacking football and offensive football. But what they did without the football was something that Kenny needs to address with Port Adelaide. But full credit to the lads. Their pressure was elite, and they killed them in the air. The Adelaide Crows were very strong. Fogarty and Tex and Himmelberg played a small part, O'Brien. But the back line, and I thought Keane's game for the Adelaide Crows was the best one he's played this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Keane has been fantastic, especially for a guy that's not played that much AFL football.
No, he's an Irishman.
Exactly right. But the way that he reads the ball in the air is absolutely fantastic. So I thought he would have been in the running for the showdown tonight as well.
His intercept work was outstanding, and as we know, Charlie Dixon's a very dangerous player. But the Adelaide Crows' last kick inside forward 50 was as good as I've seen this year. That's the most important kick, but they just had an even playing field. They all played their role, and I just thought that got to win the game at the source, which is around the stoppages. But the Crows smashed them on the outside of the contest.
Definitely, and we're seeing Darcy Fogarty there lining up for I think it was his second goal tonight, and he really stepped up tonight. People have been calling for that for the last few weeks.
He's a wonderful talent, and look, when we eventually lose our beautiful Tex Walker in regards to the Adelaide Crows, Fogg will then become that captain in the forward line, and he's a beauty, young Darcy, and he's a wonderful talent. He's a beautiful kid, and he just works really hard. And McHenry, he just gives you a lot of buzz. He's like a little battery, just darts around. He's got a lot of energy, and that was a great shepherd to give Tex one of his goals. But see, a selfless performance, and that's what it coach would love to see from his playing group, and that's going to give them a lot of confidence for the next month.
I think that's as well just the experience building in some of these younger players, knowing that this isn't my time to shine, it's my time to do the team act.
That's it.
And help Tex get that goal in the end as well. And you mentioned just so much energy, and I think the forwards had so much energy today. They're all over the ground basically. Rankin was in defence, he was down forward, slotting goals as well, but it's just that ability to chase back and be that next option.
Yeah, and some will say if Port Adelaide kicked straight, they would have won the game. Well, no, we'll kick straight. Finish it off where the Adelaide Crows did the job. And look at that. And the Crows played in front. That's a fundamental, and that's really pleasing for the coaching staff. And Isaac Rankin, I love the way this kid plays because he's an X factor in the side. And if you don't focus and put some discipline on him, he'll destroy you in 10 minutes of footy. And that's what the Crows have got, that luxury. And Rochelli's only going to get better as he grows older and mature as a footballer. And young Scholes had his critics, but he played really well today, I thought, on the outside of the wing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're really finding that balance of Rankin now. They obviously have been moving him around between forward and the mid, lockdown midfield as well. But I think they've struck that perfect. I think it's 1/3 in the mid and then the other 2/3 down forward as well, which allows them to still get a few goals in there too.
Get the ball to your good players who finish off, and Rankin's one of those. But, really, it's a wonderful performance, 52,000 at Adelaide Oval, and saying goodbye to one of the greats of our footy club. It was a great night.
Definitely. And when it comes to efficiency as well, you did touch on it, but Port Adelaide's efficiency just wasn't there tonight, even though they dominated territory for at least most of the first half as well. And I think that's something the Crows have been really able to clean up on. Their efficiency with the ball was questioned in the earlier rounds, but we saw that tighten up with the last couple of games. Absolutely,
and that's what the Crows have been focusing on. Good ball use, especially through the midfield and obviously between the arcs, but then that last kick inside forward 50, as I mentioned. But the Crows' pressure was outstanding. You know, they were at it and they were double tackling, they were creating turnovers inside forward 50. So Nixie will sleep very well tonight, the senior coach.
He sure will, and he has been for the last couple of years as well. And we've got Bella here on the text lines asking, why are we having such a good run against the power?
Well, it's a good question, Bella. I just think the Adelaide Crows obviously have taken their opportunities when it's been presented. And Port Adelaide, they don't go away. I think Port Adelaide have been brave at times, but the Adelaide Crows have just had some better momentum, and they'll be able to finish off in front of goal. People forget that. You do all that work from down defence and you go through the midfield and you get inside foot. You've still got to finish off and kick your goals. And Port Adelaide didn't do that tonight. They missed so many opportunities in front of goal. It hurts you on the scoreboard at the end of the day. So, good question, Bella.
Yeah, absolutely. And Port is meant to be one of the best teams in terms of transitioning the ball from defence to forward. But the Crows were so effective today at shutting down that corridor option for them, which just took them out of the game.
Absolutely. And I think Kenny will sit down and review that with his coaching staff. What are we doing without the footy? And that's a big question Port Adelaide got to answer, because we know they tease the home and away competition, but come finals, they struggle. But this is a great sounding board for the Crows tonight. They can build some real momentum moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. We've got one more question here, a bit of a biased question here from Jason, but I'm sure he's loving the win tonight. But why are we so much better than Port Adelaide?
Well, it just because the leaders stood up tonight. I thought the leaders in Dawson, and I thought Saligo was outstanding, and Crouch, and these boys, Tex, and even though Tex's influence was okay, but he still has a presence out there. And I think that's so important. Your leaders and your senior players play a real big part in these type of games, and that's why the Crows are a lot better tonight.
And why do you think there's been that flip, I suppose, in the last couple of rounds, that from those losses we were seeing earlier in the year, games that we were expected to win? Was it just those leaders stepping up, or was it just the skills, finding that connection with the forwards? There was a few keys at play.
Well, I just think that the good players step up when they have to, and I think Jordan Dawson's got to take a lot of credit. His last 3 weeks have been outstanding as the club captain, and what tends to happen is they start to follow, and then you've got great leadership in Tex, and then you've got Matty Crouch is lurking around the midfield, and then the younger players step up, like Saligo, and then you see McHenry's getting busy, and Michael Annie down there, and Keane, and then you saw some of the younger players really step up. Hinge is playing some nice serviceable football. You must be in a good place when you put a champion footballer in Brodie Smith as a sub. That's a good sign. That's a good sign for a senior coach because that means you're starting to get some depth.
Yeah, you're spot on. And speaking of, we've got Lara here. You touched on a few of the names there, but what is your opinion of some of these young players in the back line? They're starting to step up. Michael Laney had a great game tonight. Worrell as well, and we talked about Keane previously.
Yeah, I thought Keane was second best player behind Saligo and young Dawson, but Butts, you know, if Butts can keep his body in shape, you know, he'd be a very good 10-year key defender. The one that I really enjoy watching, and I love Worrell, I think he's developing nicely, and Hinge has got a beautiful kick, you know, give the ball to Hinge coming at it. But I think Michael Annie is someone to look forward to in the future, to becoming maybe a midfielder type wingman, because he's athletic, he's got good football now, so he makes good decisions. I'd like to see that experiment happen, you know, either end of the year or next year, because we've got to build depth in that midfield group.
Yeah, and Michael Laney's played a fair bit of football for someone. It's only his second season.
He's a standing young man.
You would not by looking at the way that he played tonight.
You think he's played 200 games?
Absolutely. Oh. Do you think we need to spend a bit more time giving some of these younger players games in the senior team?
Yes, to answer the question. I think it's time now to give young Dowling some opportunity. I want to see Strawn get some opportunity, see where he's at. It was good to see Himmelberg play his first game tonight after obviously a bit of a layoff, and I want to know where he sits moving forward in the next 2.5, 3 years under Nixie. So there's some real good upside, but you've got to play him. You've really got to play them. So they're decisions the coaching staff will make moving forward. But again, you can't take away from that team performance tonight. Their pressure was as good as I've seen for a while by the Adelaide Crows. And Port had no breathing space, had no time and space with the footy. So
absolutely, and that's one of the things Nick said pre-game is we want to give them no space to move. I think they did that really well tonight. And I think one thing that we've seen last week and in this week as well is that attack back. We had such an effective way of attacking the ball last year, so fast, barely ever taking any time, always playing on. But we're also not conceding as many goals as we were last year, which I think is really important.
Absolutely, and that's where your forward line pressure, because we know what they want to play the ball in their front half and own territory. But when the Crows mark play on, I love that, through the corridor. Get through the corridors, play and go and be risky and be bold. Now, every now and then when they try and switch that ball in the corridor, you're going to turn it over. They're the risks you take as a team that wants to be brave. Get to 100 points quick. Keep them under 50, 60 points. That's the DNA in today's football, but because they all defend really well behind the ball, that's why you need to get the ball to the class players who finish it off.
Absolutely. Fast is the way to go. But
fast.
Exactly. We're going to head straight down into the rooms now, where we've been speaking his praises already today, but we've got Max Michaelini down there with Ebony Marinoff.
So, Maxie, how good was that Thursday night footy?
Doesn't really get much better than that, does it? Crowd was electric. All the Crows supporters come out in full force tonight, which was great to see, and it was good that we come out as well and put in a good performance.
Yeah, we had 52,000, the highest crowd. You reckon Sloaney had a bit to do with that throughout the week?
Yeah, he sure did. You know, he's a champion of the club and an even better guy, to be honest. So hopefully he hangs around a little bit longer, and I love being around him, and stellar career.
You speak about being with Sloaney. What impact has he had on your career?
Well, yeah, he's the perfect role model, if you know what I mean. He drives the standards, he checks in on you, and his backyard's clean. He's always there, first to message you if something's wrong, and stands up in big moments. So really proud of his teammate, and I love him.
And yourself, Maxie, you're finding some form down back. You've got Josh Worrell in tandem. How's it like playing with him?
Yeah, I love Josh. Josh has been unreal this year, hasn't he? I think all the Crows supporters can get around how well he's been performing, and I know us down back, we all love playing with him.
We talk about team defence. I feel like that's been a real focus over the last 2 weeks. What's been better with that?
I think just our mindset, our willingness to defend. You know, the last 2 weeks the midfielders have made it really easy for our lives down back. You know, dirty entries, and you saw that today. They put pressure on the ball, and loving the forwards locking it in as well.
We've got a couple of wins in a row. We've got Brisbane next week. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, we sure are. Another massive game, and hopefully we take it to them and get a third win on the run.
Thanks for joining me, Maxie.
Thanks for having me.
Rooms absolutely packed down there, aren't they, Andrew? Wouldn't you love to be down there tonight?
Oh, I'd love to be down there having a couple of coldies with the boys. But, yeah, fantastic. And nothing better than winning a game of footy.
Absolutely. A few celebrations back in your day?
Oh, yes. Back in our day, things were a little bit different. We had a lot of fun back in our day. Don't worry about that. And yeah, every now and then we could have a couple of little quiet ones when you had a good win.
Absolutely. We've got some second half highlights here. Tech's fantastic goal that just snuck across the line there. Not quite sure why Zerk Thatcher started so far back.
What was he doing?
Yeah, just missed out on that one, unfortunately. But Tech's had a great game tonight and last week as well. He's
he's a
bit
beauty.
of a slower start to the season with that sore back, but he's really started to get back into the groove of things.
No, he's just moving a lot better and he's getting around the ground and he's getting good delivery. And he's so important. Oh, look, honestly, I think Tech should be playing again next year. I'm serious about this because, I spoke to some of my ex-teammates, and when you've got a bloke that's still influential with the playing group and still plays his role, don't retire him. Because, you want to play kids, but kids need support and experienced heads around him. But he just guides that forward line and, re-sign him for next year, to be honest with you. He looks good. He's running at the top of the ground and he's sharp with his touch. And, mate, he was terrific tonight.
Yeah, and that's I guess we'll speak a bit more on Sloan a little bit later tonight, but that was the reason why they kept him around this year as well.
Yeah.
Because whilst the on-field performance might not be back where he was at 5 years ago, but it's what he adds off the field as well, and it's that leadership he brings as well, and that's why he was such an asset, and it's why he will stick around the club to the rest of the season as well.
Don't offload them. It doesn't matter if they're 33, 34. If they're still having an influence on game day and around the change rooms and they're setting good standards and guiding these younger players, you keep them around. I'm telling you now, you can't clean them all out. And some clubs have done that, and now they're paying a price for it. So for me, it's a no-brainer. If you can, these days they manage them really well because they've got professional fitness coaches and doctors and science teachers or whatever they look after them. Keep them around.
Definitely, and they're guiding that younger generation.
Yes.
And one man that's going to be here, hopefully for quite some time, is Dan Curtin.
Oh, yeah.
Had his debut tonight. What do you think of the youngster?
Oh, look, he would have been nervous. His anxiety levels would have been through the roof. He probably didn't sleep last night. I know his parents were over, and it's a beautiful... well done to Nixie to play and start playing these younger blokes. Give them an opportunity. They might not be ready, but you're not going to know if you don't give them a chance. And well done to the young man, wearing the great number of Tony Modra. They're big shoes to fill, trust me.
Absolutely. Bit of pressure right there, but we've got Dan Curtin down the room, so we'll head straight down to him now.
So Dan, debut and a showdown win. Talk us through that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's awesome. Yeah.
What was different to Samford? The speed?
Oh yeah, just the speed, 52,000 people, out on the ground. When I got out there, I kind of sat down on the ground for a bit at the beginning of the game and just looked around. Yeah, Sensei is awesome. It's awesome.
And those moments, coming up against Travis Boak and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, but I had a role to do, and so I did that to the best of my ability and got it done. So.
How'd you go throughout the week, knowing that it was a showdown, Sloanie's, retirement and all those things and emotions?
Yeah, so good. Yeah, it was pretty sad about Sloanie, but I think it was the right time for him, and he's a great player, awesome bloke, and he got around me and made me feel so welcomed into this role, into the team. So.
And you got your family over here tonight?
Yep, got the whole fam, I think 14 people, so friends, family,
And you'll be able to celebrate with them tonight?
Yep, 100%, yeah, probably won't be able to sleep for a while, so, yeah.
And how'd you feel playing out there along the likes of, Josh Worrell, Mark Keane?
Yeah, so good, I think getting out into the ground before the game really helped calm myself down and felt really calm and composed out there, and all those boys got around me when I did something, so it was awesome.
What was your biggest moment of the game?
Oh God, I think just getting that first touch just kind of settled everything, and then before I got subbed, just making sure there was no mark there and all the boys getting around me, it was real good, so yeah.
Awesome, go enjoy the win.
Thank you so much, thanks Ed.
Young man there, obviously through the draft period, and he's going to be with the Crows hopefully for quite some time. The big question is, though, do you think he'll get another game next week? There's been a bit of a merry-go-round in terms of selection for the Crows this year.
Yeah, obviously Brodie Smith was the sub, and they just thought, you know what, we've given him 2.5, 3 quarters. Let's just put him away He's had a taste of it, and then give Brodie some opportunity in the last quarter. But absolutely, yeah, back him in for 3 or 4 games. Brisbane Lions next week, so yeah, I would imagine that he'll be playing next week. Yeah,
I hope so. I think the Crows fans at home would love to see him as well. And the selection conversations have been happening to the crosstown rivals as well. And funny enough, we've got a question here from Connor about Connor Rosie. Do you think you would have played him?
Look, he put his hand up as the club captain, and as a senior coach, yes, you play him because he knows his body better than anyone else. So I've got no issues with him playing tonight. Look, he didn't have the influence he normally does. He was obviously still feeling the effects of last week. So they're risks you take. That's what footy's about, taking a risk. And he's one of the best players in the competition. So as a senior coach, if he's put his hand up, you're playing.
Definitely. And we've got a question here from Cooper as well. So what does the season mean for the Crows from here? We've got some interesting opponents coming up. Brisbane next week, Collingwood, West Coast and Hawthorn.
Cooper, good question. That's now going to be up to the playing group now for the next month. They've got a great opportunity to just be chipping away at the competition because teams will start to get tired. It's a long season, as we know, and winning momentum is hard to stop. So if they can get through Brisbane next week, and then there's Collingwood, and then there's the West Coast Eagles, in 4 or 5 weeks' time, this conversation's different. All of a sudden we're talking differently about them.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting how quickly the game can change, isn't it? And we were speaking before about pre-game. You could just feel a different energy from the Crows players in the warm-up, and that was mostly thanks to this man on screen right there. Rory Salone, obviously we're saying goodbye to a club legend tonight. All-Australian, AFL players, most courageous player, very well deserving, multiple best and fairest, and of course a showdown medal as well.
And he's there with his best mate and one of my dear boys, Bernie Vince, who's a club champion also. Sloaney, a much-loved figure. He's right up there in terms of popularity with Tony Modra, who was one of our greats, and it was beautiful to see the Port Adelaide boys acknowledge Sloaney, and he's universally loved, which is rare in today's game of football. And he not only a great person, a great family man, but has been a great player for the Adelaide Crows. And congratulations, Sloaney, you've been a star, my friend.
Absolutely, a very rare sign of unity pre-game there for him as he made his way around the Oval. And I think you're spot on, and I don't think you could find a single person in the AFL community who could say a single bad thing about that man. The big question is now, what does he do next? He said he's going to hang around the club for the rest of the season, help out the second team as well as the injured boys there as well. So he won't be going anywhere anytime soon. But do you think he'll head into coaching?
Find a position. That's what you don't want to lose. Those beautiful people like Sloaney, find a position. Timmy Silvers, get the checkbook out and find a position for him for long term. Now, he may need some time away with his family, and there's no doubt about that, but get him involved in development or the list management or recruiting or keep him around the football club, not only for the senior program, but for our women's program as well, because he's much loved. So, we don't want to lose Sloaney.
No, he's spot on. An absolute legend of the game, and he'll be very sought after in the next few years, I can imagine. We heard from him early in the week when he announced his retirement. Let's take a listen to that one now. Here he is right here, just chatting to the boys. It was pretty emotional.
Yeah, it's hard.
Having that chat. You've seen a few of these in your time?
Yeah, I have, and they're hard. They're probably one of the toughest things you could do as a player when you know they're handing in the keys as a player and as a teammate, and because the club loves him and his support staff love him. That's tough. That's really hard. And but typical, he handled it with grace, and again, he's just been a warrior for this footy club.
Absolutely. Got a question here from Thomas. What impresses you about Jake Saligo?
He's got great footy IQ. He's got good decision making. He's got beautiful skills by hand and foot. He's a good inside player. He can play on the outside. He's a fierce tackler. He can read the game early. He's a beauty. I'm really pleased that they've backed him in to give him some midfield time, because now you got to build that midfield. You obviously Dawson, then you got Saligo, and then we still need another 3 or 4 more quality, classy players in that midfield group to develop, to play and have a crack. But Saligo's a beauty. I love the way he plays.
I've got a question here from Macy for you. Jars, do you wish that you played in games like this? Bit jealous watching on?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah. My brother, DJ, obviously had an opportunity, but I missed out by a year. But it would have been great. Yeah, I know.
Sure you didn't have another year in you?
No, thank you, Malcolm. Flighty. Anyway, that's life. I'd love to. Would have been great. Chad Corns loved playing showdowns. I reckon I probably would have been matching it with Chad back in the day, stirring them up. But yeah, they're the best games on the calendar, no doubt. As a Crows player and as a Port player, you just go, oh, here we go, 2 beautiful games this year.
Circle those ones in right.
Circle them in red, Monique.
Absolutely. One player I think we should touch on is, I guess, been a bit overshadowed by Roy Salone's retirement and Dan Curtin coming in as well. But Matt Crouch had his 150th game as well. He fought his way back into the side last year, and he's been really having an impact in that midfield group. Look,
he had to change the way he played footy, and at times I could put my hand up. I've probably been a little bit critical of the way he's used the football behind backwood of centre. But, to his credit, he's had a really good, he had a great year last year, and he's been very productive this year. Experienced player. He's had his critics, he's had his knocks, the way he plays football, but he's a hunter. He finds the ball and he just plays his role. He's been a wonderful servant for the footy club. And 150 games, for a bloke that didn't get much of a look in when he first started, it's a credit to him. He wasn't going away, and yeah, he's been a terrific player.
Absolutely. A career average of 28.2 disposals for him, another 28 tonight, so right on track.
Terrific.
And speaking of some of these older players, we talked about Tex, we talked about Rory, we've got Brodie Smith, who came in as the sub this week. We talked about that earlier. What do you think his future holds?
Yeah, well, look, Brodie's output has been probably below par for Brode, because he's been a sensational player across halfback, one of the best kicks in the competition, but I think he's just lost probably a little bit of form, a little bit of confidence. There's no doubt some players do lose confidence. He came back from that injury, so a bit of a sub, had a bit of a taste tonight. So maybe next week he'll start and get going again, or he might need a week in the sample. Nothing wrong with that. There's no question about that. But he's a very important player if we can. We'll know in the next 4 or 5 weeks where the club's at. If they can get some more wins, well, you just don't know what the second half of the season will provide. So, no, Brodie's a class player, a beautiful soul, and he's much needed moving forward.
Absolutely. And I think we've talked about it briefly, but I can feel the fire starting to burn in the belly of the Crows players at the moment. So I think they've had a kick-start to the season. But I think that's about all we've got time for tonight, Andrew. Sorry, we can't keep going all night. Stop it. People do have places to be, unfortunately. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for joining us tonight, Andrew.
Thanks, Monique. You did a great job, and go the Crows.
Appreciate it. Great win in the showdown tonight, and you'll have the Crow Show on Sunday if you want to get a bit more of your Crows content. Don't forget to send in your questions as well on our text line for the next home game. Have a good night.